Hi everybody, it's happy Tuesday. Not so happy. I went to my eye doctor. He put drops in my eyes, went away and helped somebody else, came back, looked in my eye, and he said, "When did you fall down?" And I said, "I didn't fall down." He says, "When did you have a concussion?" And I said, "I haven't ever had a concussion." He said, "Did you fall off your bicycle?" I said, "No. What's the matter?" And he looks in my eye again, and he says, "Just hang on, sit here for a minute." He goes down to the main desk where the receptionist is, and he says to her, and I can hear him, "Call emergency at the hospital. Tell them I'm sending a patient to them for eye surgery." And he comes back to me and he says, "Your retina's torn and you have to take care of it today." I said, "I'm busy today. I have stuff to do. It can wait until next week. And what do you mean I need surgery, for God's sakes?" And he says, "Just go and sit in the lobby and wait while I arrange these things." So I walk out to the lobby and I sit down and I stand up and I go to the receptionist and said, "I'm going out just to tell my husband, who's waiting in the car because I knew I was having dilating drops and he had to drive me home. I'm going to tell Pat what's happening." And she says, "No, you sit down. You cannot go home. You can't leave." And I said, "I'm just going out to the car. I'll be right back." And she says, "If you're not back, we'll have to come and get you." And I'm looking at her as though she's a nut bar. I go out, and Pat's all waving at me, happy that we're done and everything's fine and blah, blah, blah. I get in the car and say, "Well, I have to have surgery. They need to do surgery right now. Otherwise, I'm going to lose my eye." So we're just shocked. Go back, he comes back in to the reception area and we sit and wait while my eye doctor, makes arrangements at the hospital. And he says, "You have to go from here up the street to the hospital." So we do that, and I'm just feeling completely gobsmacked. I'm not even at a point where I'm feeling frightened or scared. I just am shocked, absolutely shocked. So we go. We find where we're supposed to be. We're waiting for the ophthalmologist to come, and of course it's a teaching hospital, so you have students come first and they take preliminary interview and blah, blah, blah. Then the resident comes and does her thing. That exam with the resident took an hour, and it was one of the most horrible things that I've experienced. And I haven't obviously experienced, I guess, a lot of things, some, but it was horrible. So we get through that hour. Pat's in the room with me, and she says, when the ophthalmologist, when Dr., I can't remember his name, comes, he's going to do one of two things. He's going to fill your eye in surgery with gas, which takes about 6 weeks for it to filter away, and you'll see all bubbles, but you won't see much else. Or he's going to do the full out surgery. So we wait, and he finally comes. By this time, it's about 5:30, I guess, when he comes. And he spends not very long, but does a repeat of some of the exams that the resident did that are unpleasant. And he says, "Okay, well, I'll tell you here's some information. I'll call the surgery and we're going to do the surgery." And I said, "Which? The gas or the surgery?" And he says, "Oh no, you need full surgery, and in 6 weeks we're doing your other eye." Or so. Depends on how my left eye heals. So I just can't believe it. Then he says to me, "You are an anomaly. No one has what you have. for 2 weeks and that they keep their eye. They are blind in the one eye. It is extremely rare, he said. So we teeter. I mean, I don't very often really feel senior. I really, I joke about it, but I really don't. I'm fully functional and I think quite vigorous and interested in everything. Not to say that a senior isn't, but, I tottered down the hall with Pat. And we sit and we're told to go in, and then they take me into a bed and we wait. And I just said to Pat at 7 o'clock, just to go home and have some dinner and relax, and they'll call you when I'm done. And the nurse that was with me agreed and said just to go. And I wanted to try and have a nap or something anyway. So we make arrangements for that and how he's to find me and what they're going to do when I'm all done. They explain to him what's going to happen. And he says, well, before I go, you put in I had to have intravenous and blood pressure and whatnot. And they couldn't find my vein. And when the nurse was putting in the intravenous, the thing that goes here, the blood splurted all over, and she looks at me and she says, you don't have Ebola, do you? Anyway, there was blood all over the place. And anyway, all of that's done, and I'm ready for surgery, and Pat goes. And I waited until 9 o'clock, and they took me in. I was told that it was a 45-minute procedure, and we go in, and I've got this adorable little hat on. You know me, I don't do hats. And they have this hat on, and they put me on this table, whatnot, and looking at all of the paraphernalia and everything. It's a little bit scary, but it was too fast for me to be scared and to work myself up into a frenzy over what was going to happen. And so the first thing that he had to do was put a needle in where my jaw meets at the base, like right there at my ear, and that was not pleasant. And apparently, if he finds the right place, it hits the eye nerve and it freezes all this part of my face. And the anesthesiologist comes and talks to me about what he's going to be doing with the intravenous, and you're not out, like you're awake through all of this. And then the eye doctor, the surgeon, opens my eye and puts a horrible, stinging, burning acid into my eye that's supposed to be like a local anesthetic. Then he clamps it, and all I can see is like an aurora borealis, all floating. I don't really see anything except colors and waves and floaties, and, I can't see out of my eye anymore. And I said, oh my God, it's making me think of A Clockwork Orange. They all laughed over that, and then he starts drilling holes into my eyeball. And the 45 minutes turned into an hour and 10 minutes because there were some problems. They had to put 2 sutures in, and I could see, like, this tool that he was using, of course, it's resting right, well, it's inside my eye, and I had the impression that I was looking at my eyeball. My eye was looking at the same eyeball. That was weird. So he puts the 2 sutures in and does some more stuff, and drilling and draining and sewing, and probably 50% of it was completely tolerable and it was not uncomfortable. and 50% I was gripping onto the bar side rails of the bed, and it was difficult to stay still. So we go out, and he explains to me a little bit, but I was completely blind. I couldn't see anything out of either eye. I couldn't understand what he was saying. I couldn't remember it all. The nurse writes it all down, and they call Pat, and I'm in recovery for 45 minutes or so. And Pat picks me up, and we're home by 11:30. That's the story. So I'm going in half an hour to have a follow-up appointment with the surgeon to see how things worked. I can't hardly see from my right eye because of all of the exams from yesterday. I'm very light sensitive. So we'll see how it works out. But I wanted you to know my story and what's going on. Plus, tomorrow we're having new rugs installed and we have to move everything. So just run, Pat, run. Everything is everywhere, and my china cabinet over there is empty, and the TV's pulled out, and everything is in turmoil. Meanwhile, I can't bend over, and I can't lift anything, and I can't do stairs, and I'm bumping into the walls. I hate 2014. I had pertussis. My sister was with us for 2 months. Excuse me, and now this. But on top of all of that, I'm okay. I have some irritation right now. I'm uncomfortable, but I'm not in any pain. So that's good. I'll talk to you all soon. Wave at the peoples, Pat. That's it, that's all.